Have you ever wondered how to make a Tycoon dropper using either Fortnite Creative 1.0 or UEFN? Well, today I'm going to show you how to make a Tycoon dropper in both. Now, first thing we need to keep in mind with 1.0 is that the prop mover device can be quite buggy and hard to work with. If you are able to, I would highly recommend getting UEFN in order to make a proper dropper for a Tycoon map using the sequence device. But don't worry, I will still show you how to create a dropper first in Creative 1.0, then I will show you the UEFN version afterwards. UEFN users should still be able to follow along with connecting the devices in 1.0 that I'm going to go through right now. Okay, so I have a very simple dropper conveyor that I built out of props within the Primitive Shapes gallery, and the conveyor is from the Slappy Shores Slap Factory. The first thing you'll need to do is get yourself a prop that you want to appear and move down the conveyor. You can use any prop within Fortnite, but for this example, I'm going to use a sphere from the Primitive Shape gallery. So what we are going to do is place the sphere right here on the conveyor. You need to make sure that it is not touching the conveyor though, or else it won't work. Next, we will grab a prop manipulator device and attach it to the sphere prop. You can shrink the prop manipulator down if you would like, and you will need to make sure that it is highlighted in green, showing that it is in fact attached to the prop. If it is red, it will not be attached to the prop and it will not work. The only thing we need to change in the prop manipulator settings is that we want it to start hidden. Next, we want to add in a prop mover device. Similar to the prop manipulator, the device will highlight in green if it is attached to a prop. One thing you can't do is shrink or grow the prop mover, which can cause issues for some. It is important to leave lots of space so that when you attach your prop mover to a prop, it is only attached to one single prop. Now, in the prop mover settings, this may vary depending on how your dropper is built, but I have mine set to a 6-meter distance and a speed of 2 meters. I will typically change prop collision behavior to continue. Then the last thing we need to change is path complete action to repeat. Now, if you haven't seen my previous Tycoon tutorials, I would recommend checking them out to see how I created this button here. A quick rundown is that I have a trigger on the button. Once you step on the trigger, it activates the conditional button that you need 20 gold in order to activate. From here, we want to hook up the function show prop from the prop manipulator device to the conditional button device once activated. We also want to add the start function of the prop mover device to the conditional button device once activated. The last thing we need to do is place an item granter device down and add however much money you want to earn with the dropper being active. I currently just have it set to 1 gold every 3 seconds, as that is the move time of the prop mover device before it resets, so that it looks like you are gaining 1 gold every time the prop goes into the machine. You will need to change the settings of on grant action to keep all, and you will need to grant on timer and then set the time to however long your prop mover moves the prop for. My prop mover goes 2 meters per second movement speed and travels 6 meters, making the length 3 seconds. This is what time I used for my grant on timer setting. If you want to upgrade the dropper to give more money, simply create another button, copy the item granter device you already have, and add more gold to it. Then, when someone steps on the upgrade button, you want that trigger to disable the previous item granter device, and then connect the grant item function from the new item granter device. And there you have it. You now have a functioning dropper for your Tycoon map using 1.0. So as you can see, when I first go and test it, when I jumped on the button, it did not actually make the prop move. This isn't because of the mechanic, because if I end the game and go back into it and do the exact same thing, you can see that it works now. This means that the device is bugged until Epic decides to fix it, which is why I encourage everyone to use UEFN when building a Tycoon. I know UEFN may seem intimidating, but just watch the next few minutes as I show you how it is actually fairly easy to move props, and there is no verse involved at all, so you do not need to know any coding. So now that we are in UEFN, I'm going to leave everything in the map as we already set up the devices and the mechanic remains the same. The only thing we are going to do different is we are going to set up some cinematics in order to move the props. Then we will connect it to a sequence device, which can only be found and used within UEFN. So first, right-click in your main folder, go to Cinematics, and then select Level Sequence. You will then need to name your level sequence. I will just name mine Dropper 1. Then we will double-click it to open up the sequencer. First thing we will need to do is we want to add the prop to the sequencer by grabbing it from the outliner and dragging it into the sequencer. Next, we should move this prop up into the dropper. Next, beside the prop name in the sequencer, you will see a little plus sign. Click on the plus sign and then select Transform. This is how we move the prop how we want. Now, you can see these numbers on top of the sequencer here. These are the frames, mostly used in animation. But for beginners, you can change this to seconds by clicking where it says 30 FPS, and then go to Show Time As, and then select Seconds. After that, we are going to want to keyframe the prop in the position it starts in. You can do this by clicking this button here. Now, instead of clicking this button every time we want to set a keyframe, we are actually going to click this button here, which will automatically add a keyframe anytime we change the prop's position. So let's say we want the sphere to hit the conveyor after 1 second. We will drag this red marker here to the 1 second mark. Then we will click on the prop and move it to the position we want it to be at 1 second. You can now move the red marker back and forth to see its animation path. You can also click the play button here to see how it looks in real time. Now, let's give it a bit more realism and make the sphere bounce a little when it hits the conveyor. It's not necessary to do this, you can leave this part out if you like. To do this, drag the red marker somewhere around 1.25 seconds. Then let's select our prop and move it up just a little bit. Then we will drag the red marker to 1.5 seconds and bring the sphere back down to the conveyor. Now, from before, we know that our gold gets granted every 3 seconds, so we want the cinematic to be 3 seconds long. In order to do that, you just need to drag this red bar here that represents when the animation will end. Now, all we have to do is bring the red marker to the 3 second mark, and then drag the sphere inside the machine. You may need to adjust how the ball bounces to the way you want it. Keep in mind, you don't have to have the bounce if it gets too confusing for you. You can simply have the ball drop straight down and then go right into the machine. Once you have set up your animation to your liking, we will then need a sequence device placed on the map. Next, we will go to the right side here in the device settings and choose the sequence we just made and named Dropper 1. Then we will need to click here and make it auto loop. And finally, we will just need to play function when the conditional button device on activated. Now we can simply hop into the game and check out how it is working. And just like that, you have a functional dropper within your Tycoon map. Thanks for everyone for sticking to the end here. If you have any further questions, feel free to leave a comment or hop into my Discord server. I'll leave a link in the description. You can also suggest a tutorial in the Discord as well. That's going to be it for this video. Make sure you subscribe for more Tycoon building tutorials, and we will see you next time. Stay spicy. I'm out. Peace.